Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, PA, 26 degrees with the wind. It feels like 12. But a guy who's been pretty hot lately, right there, Andy Dalton and his Cincinnati Bengals coming into the Steel City to take on Ben Roethlisberger. 10 years at the helm of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football, Week 15, and the kick, the wind helping it sail to the back of the end zone for a touchback. And let's take a look at the Steelers starters.
Ben Roethlisberger, Miami Redhawks.
Le'Veon Bell, Michigan State.
Antonio Brown, Central Michigan.
Emmanuel Sanders, SMU.
Jericho Cotchery, NC State.
Heath Miller, Virginia.
Kelvin Beachum, Southern Methodist University.
Ramon Foster, Tennessee.
Cody Wallace, Texas A&M.
David DeCastro, Stanford.
Marcus Gilbert, University of Florida.
Steelers have had some problems up front, but overall, Chris talking about it at the top, the offense has not been the issue this year. Ed Hockley is the referee, gets a last word in with Roethlisberger, and here's the first play from scrimmage from the 20-yard line. Wants three receivers to the right and then send Bell in that direction. So four guys on the right side, and it's a screen to Bell, and Bell is able to pick up 4 yards to the 24-yard line. Drake Kirkpatrick making the tackle. So for Ben Roethlisberger, you talk to some of the people who are around the Steelers, have followed them. There are some who say this is his best season. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but it's certainly in the conversation.
Well, for so
foul, face mask, defense, number 27. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
And that's Drake Kirkpatrick. Michelle talking about the fact he's taking the spot occupied normally by Terrence Newman, and a very inglorious beginning for him.
Well, he made his presence felt right away, didn't he?
He did. The ball at the 40-yard line. After the penalty, and the handoff goes to Le'Veon Bell, who was the second running back drafted last April, and the first is on the other side of the field. We'll see him when Cincinnati has the ball in Bernard. So Bell got hurt in preseason. Played very sparingly and then missed the first 3 weeks and has worked his way back. But they love him. They think he is a star, and they think he'll be their running back for the next 7 or 8 years. Bell at 6'1" and 244. Roethlisberger, quick throw out to Antonio Brown. Breaks away from Kirkpatrick and picks up a first down. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati defense.
Carlos Dunlap, University of Florida.
Domata Peko, Michigan State.
Brandon Thompson, Clemson.
Mike Johnson, Georgia Tech.
James Harrison, Kent State University.
Ray Maulunga, the University of Southern California.
Vontaze Burfict, Arizona State.
Drake Kirkpatrick, Alabama.
Georgia Loca, the Boise State University.
Reggie Nelson, University of Florida.
Adam Jones, WVU.
Perfect, a guy whose name we figured to call a lot tonight. Leads the team in tackles by a mile as Bell takes the ball to the 40-yard line. Two guys have been around for a while now. Mike Tomlin took over after Bill Cowher left following the 06 season. And on the other side, Marvin Lewis, already 11 years at the helm. Only Bill Belichick has been with his current team longer. Belichick 14 years with New England. 2nd down and 6 from the 40. And an inside give. Bell trying to get around the corner, but no, he gets gang tackled at the 39-yard line.
Well, the first time these two teams played, the Pittsburgh Steelers rushed for a grand total of 44 yards in that game, and due in large part to the fact that Marquise Pouncey had just been hurt. Fernando Velasco came in. They didn't have their tight ends, and Le'Veon Bell wasn't there. But other than that, they had everybody available. It clearly was a different-looking Steelers offense early in the season, but they are getting much, much better now.
And Pittsburgh comes up running no huddle here on the first series. As the toss goes to Bell, he has a little convoy out there, but breaking through and able to make the tackle was Carlos Dunlap, the defensive end.
Well, this is what they love to do, go with this bunch formation and then pull Heath Miller out and around. Of course, he was the team MVP a season ago, but got hurt late in the season and never really regained form until here just recently. So there they go. Going to have to punt on their first possession. Nice stop by the Bengals.
This is Matt McBriar's kick, and it's fair caught at the 7-yard line by Brandon T. And Cincinnati gets the ball for the first time when we come back to Pittsburgh. Cruising down the Allegheny River here in Pittsburgh on a frigid night. Played a game last week against Miami in the snow, which the Dolphins were able to hold on and win. And now Dalton will start from the 7-yard line, and he throws to A.J. Green, his top receiver and one of the best in the league. That's a gain of 9, 2nd down and 1. So Dalton, drafted out of TCU 2nd round, 2011, and that line has done a great job, and he's been getting rid of the ball with alacrity. Hasn't been sacked in his last 93 dropbacks. That's 3 full games plus a bye week, so he hasn't been on the ground since early November.
That's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Hope to keep it up tonight to the Bengals on 2nd down and a short 1. High snap, and he gets it away, and if Polamalu had looked around, meanwhile it winds up in Anthony Collins' hands, and of course he's a tackle, so he can't handle the ball, because you've got Polamalu who was there, who was blanketing the receiver, but he didn't turn around, otherwise he has a pick.
Troy Polamalu got there before the ball did. Here he is right here, going to come out and make the tackle essentially before the ball even gets there, and makes his presence felt. He's been playing a lot at the linebacker position. I still think he is a much more dynamic player in space. You just saw it right away.
So the ball hit the ground, so there's no ineligible receiver situation here. Simply an incomplete pass, 3rd down and 1, and they hand the ball off to Benjarvis Green Ellis, who does their heavy lifting through the middle, and we'll see where they mark his forward progress. They needed a short 1. Ziggy Hood the first to get there. Ed Hockley's crew will put the ball down. Marvin Lewis wants to get a better look at it.
Watch big Al Woods right here, and then it's Vince Williams coming up late. But Al Woods basically took the Bengals offensive line and pushed it backwards, and that gave Vince Williams a chance to come up and stuff that one. That's a huge play inside by Al Woods, who's taking over for Steve McClendon tonight.
And Hood grabs him from behind, and Hockley will step in and take a look here. They're going to be that short of a 1st down. So Green Ellis gets tackled a few inches shy. Marvin says get the punt unit in. And it's a 3 and out after a 9.5-yard gain on 1st down.
If you just took the Pittsburgh Steelers' body of work and threw out those 11 plays over 50 yards, this is still a good defense, and they just showed it right there. They can stand up to anybody as long as they're not giving up those big plays.
Kevin Hubert upon Antonio Brown, who almost made a play for the ages last week on that multilateral play to end the game and barely stepped out of bounds before going into the end zone. Back to return the punt. And Hubert drops it. And can he get away? No, he can't. He'll get taken down for a safety by Will Allen. So on this windy night, and again, the wind can wreak havoc with everything, including snaps. We don't know if it did on that particular play. We'll take a look. But at least he's able to save 5 points by securing the ball and then getting tackled in the end zone for a safety.
I mean, that ball moved a good 2 feet in the air. It just went right off to the left. And now once the punter drops the ball, he is fair game. Was he?
The contact was made before the punter was driven into the end zone. Therefore, it's Steelers' ball on the 1-yard line.
Oh, very interesting. Of course, because with forward progress, they're going to rule it inside the 1, and of course they lose the ball on downs, which gives Pittsburgh the opportunity to pick up those 5 points they almost cashed in on.
In a strange way, Marvin may want to take a look at this one. I thought the ball was still across the line. Remember, any part of that football that is on the line, the front part of the line, that would be a safe. Let's see. Very close.
Very close, but it looks like Hubert's trying to get away to get the kick away, and he can't. And so does Lewis want to challenge? I don't see how he wins it, because it looks like the ball was outside the goal line. So Lewis does not challenge, and now Pittsburgh has the opportunity with Le'Veon Bell behind his fullback here. And he will take the ball almost to the goal line, but a little bit short. Michael Johnson makes the tackle.
It's so strange. We were down on the field beforehand, and the wind is really blowing about 20, 25 miles an hour, it feels like, from the Bengals sideline over to the Steelers sideline. Now, that's probably changed 10 times since we've been down there, but it is going to be a rough night to handle the football.
It's wind shear, as it is in most stadiums on a night like tonight. Bell, the single back. They give it to him, and Le'Veon Bell will get into the end zone for the touchdown. So really a bizarre turn of events as Huber can't handle the snap, tries to collect it, tried to get it away again, thought he had a safety, but forward progress had him outside the goal line, and in goes Bell for the TD.
The biggest difference for me watching the Steelers on offense now is the fact that they've got their two tight ends back in there again. Matt Spaeth and Heath Miller now back to the traditional blocking of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That wind just took that ball dead to the left, and he couldn't make the catch. What a start for Pittsburgh.
Bell's 6th rushing touchdown of the season. Sean Sweezum for the extra point. 9:58 left in the first quarter as the Pittsburgh Steelers take an early lead. And Sean Sweezum to send it down to Brandon Tate. And instead of Tate, fielding the ball in front of Tate is Cedric Pearman. And Pearman with a good run back to the 45-yard line. Did Pearman put his hand up as if to signal a fair catch? Let's go back and take a peek at this. Mike Tomlin is thinking the same thing I think that I just thought.
He waved his arm, but it was almost like he was just getting his body in position.
Yeah, I think then Hockley's now going to say that he called for a fair. Yes, he did. He's saying to Tate, I'll take it, like an outfield, like the center fielder calling off the left fielder, and Tomlin's right there to see it. So is Hockley and his crew. And so for the Bengals, it's been a crazy and negative start.
Well, and they're backed up inside their 10-yard line again. So now you have to deal with all those same issues. Special teams, the huge factor so far in this one.
So he called for a fair catch, which you can do on a kickoff. The same thing as on a punt. It comes to that spot. They start from the 9-yard line with an empty backfield. They go 4 wide, and the pass to the outside is incomplete, intended for Giovanni Bernard. Let's take a look at that Cincy offense.
Andy Dalton, TCU.
And Jarvis Green Ellis, the law firm, Ole Miss.
AJ Green, University of Georgia.
Mohamed Sanu, Rutgers.
Jermaine Gresham, the University of Oklahoma.
Tyler Eifert, Notre Dame.
AC, Beaumont Central.
Andrew Whitworth, LSU.
Kyle Cook, Michigan State.
Mike Pollock, Arizona State.
Andre Smith, Roll Tide.
Some shuffling along that offensive front, which is very interesting. We'll detail it a little bit later. On 2nd down and 10. The ball is taken by Dalton, and Andy Dalton, not known necessarily for running except for his life from time to time, is able to pick up a first down.
Well, they go to an unbalanced line here now, and the Pittsburgh Steelers really are just short a guy over here. So they go read option and bring it out the other way, and there just simply is nobody on that side of the field. So a little change up with that offensive line set up Andy Dalton to get close to the first down, but they were here last time in this situation.
Yeah, Dalton doesn't run very much, 2.6 average, though he did run for a touchdown last week. He came up a little bit short, so it's 3rd and 1, and here goes Green Ellis again. And Green Ellis, who came up short the last time on a 3rd and inches, is very close here. The 19-yard line, but this time Hockley says move the chains and we'll meet the Steeler defense.
Ziggy Hood, Missouri. Al Woods, LSU.
Cameron Hayward, the Ohio State University.
Jason Worlds, Lunchpell Defense.
Vince Williams, FSU.
Lawrence Timmons,
Florida State.
Lamar Woodley, University of Michigan.
Cortez Allen, the Citadel.
Troy Polamalu, University of Southern California.
Ryan Clark, LSU.
IT Swagger University.
Taylor's done a good job in the last couple of years with a flag thrown here before the snap and a false start. Talking about Taylor on green.
Snap, false start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's the right tackle, Andre Smith. But, Chris, the big news has been on the left side, what they've done with Collins and Whitworth.
Yeah, Andrew Whitworth, the Pro Bowl left tackle, moved inside to guard after the injury to Clint Bowling. And Anthony Collins, a guy who's sort of moved around, been their 6th offensive lineman, has done a tremendous job as a pass blocker on the outside. Not always a stout guy, but very quick feet and a very good pass blocker.
Two guys with a lot of experience, one in his 6th year, the other in his 8th. The pass is incomplete. Intended for Andrew Hawkins. Lawrence Timmons, the linebacker, covering. 2nd and 15.
Andrew Hawkins has been out much of this season, really just kind of got back to action, and maybe just a little miscommunication there as they try and get it hooked up. You'll see Andy Dalton tonight, though. He is a very quick release kind of quarterback. Jay Gruden now, they have a lot of weapons on that side of the ball. They do not want to hold it against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
John's brother, Jay Gruden, calling the play. 2nd down and 15. Here's Bernard going to the outside, and he gets hit and then taken down by the shirt by Terrence Garvin. And let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Pittsburgh linebacker Lamar Woodley, Al, is questionable with a right calf injury. He had been on the injury report with a calf injury, but we're told it was the opposite calf, and he missed 3 games with that one. Right now, he's questionable to return tonight.
All right, Lamar Woodley getting shaken up early in the game, and that's why Garvin was in the game. And 76-year-old Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator, 55 consecutive years as a player or coach, and in the Hall of Fame. Great defensive back during his playing career. 3rd and 11. Play clock at 1. And Dalton's going to get sacked at the 9-yard line. That's Ziggy Hood who comes in to take him down. And so Dalton, who had not been sacked since the 2nd week of November, and Brett Kiesel, the defensive end, who's inactive tonight, applauds from the sideline.
Good little pick play here. Cameron Hayward came down and picked off the other side of the line, and Ziggy Hood comes around for the sack. So a very good start for the Pittsburgh Steelers on defense.
So snap this time. This time it's perfect, and Huber gets the kick away. Brown collects it at the 43-yard line and brings the ball back to the Cincinnati 48. So Pittsburgh starts from that spot with 6.5 to go in the first quarter, and the Steelers up 7-0. Ben Roethlisberger, part of that class of 04, 10 years in the league, and last week broke Terry Bradshaw's record, 213 touchdown passes. Terry had 212, and Terry did it in 168 games. Ben did it in 140 games. And Ben, the record holder in pass attempts. Terry had the 4 Super Bowl titles, and Ben has a pair and has been there 3 times. 2-1 is his record in the big game. Roethlisberger dancing around and checks it off underneath to Bell, breaking a tackle, and Le'Veon Bell for a gain of 11. Tackled by Pecco, and Roethlisberger will go no huddle.
And more, Ben Roethlisberger is running the show. Todd Haley's come in as the offensive coordinator, and in this no-huddle offense, it's Ben that's calling the plays.
And this is Le'Veon Bell. So much has been said and written in Pittsburgh about the relationship between the two, but Ben finally had enough last week. He said, I love what we're doing.
Yeah, there's no question that Bruce Arians was in here and he was a favorite of Ben Roethlisberger's, and there was a little left, but he and Todd Haley now have definitely worked everything out. They have a great working relationship, and Ben Roethlisberger is very happy with what's happening on this offense, due in part to the fact that he's getting to run the show out there, and it's working.
And also in part, one of the reasons that Haley came in was to protect Ben, who's battered and bruised throughout his entire career. He hasn't missed a snap this season. And the pass is a little low for Heath Miller, but he's able to go down to the turf. and make the catch for a short gain.
You know, nobody really talked about the fact that Heath Miller was gone. He was voted MVP of this team a season ago. In week 16, ends up hurting his knee, came back, has played this season, but really it's just been the last couple of weeks we've seen him look like Heath Miller again.
2nd down and 6. Keep it on the ground, and breaking that play up, Bell gets taken down before he can get on track by the defensive end Michael Johnson. 3rd and 6.
Comes Michael Johnson, just going to slant down inside. They're going to try and use their athleticism with these outside pass rushers. Carlos Dunlop, Michael Johnson on the outside. Great ability to get after the quarterback, and now we've got an issue with one of the linemen.
That's Marcus Gilbert, who hasn't missed a start this season, down on the grass. Gilbert able to walk off under his own power. Guy Wimper will take his spot there. 6 different starting O-line combos for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. But through it all, they've been fine offensively. 3rd and 6. Little shovel pass, but that's Cotchery who makes the catch and gets hit immediately. Wallace Gilberry is there, and that will make it 4th down and 3.
Boy, a pretty interesting play there as they going to fake a swing and then hit this pass underneath it, a little shovel pass, but I think it's James Harrison who comes across. Probably saw that one in practice and cleaned that one up pretty good. Watch James Harrison come over right here and meet that one head on.
So it's 4th and 4. They're kind of in that spot where with the wind you don't want to try a field goal. They're not going to punt. At least they're going to line up to go for it. Roethlisberger can also pooch punt it, but this time he's going to step away and throw and complete it to Bell for a 1st down. So Ben stepping up in the pocket, getting free, hits the rookie for a 1st down on a 4th and 4.
Well, Le'Veon Bell is going to come up here and make a great move, but this is really all about Ben Roethlisberger, just buying time as he's done so many times over the year. But to have Le'Veon Bell, a guy who is such a complete player back there, we've seen him with his skills running the football, but what sets him apart is what he can do as a blocker and as a receiver, what we just saw there, winning those one-on-one battles.
A little over 3 minutes to play in the quarter with Pittsburgh on top 7-0. Here goes Bell again. And Bell will chug his way for a gain of a couple.
You know, you just wonder what might have been this year with the Pittsburgh Steelers if they had not lost Marquise Pouncey on opening day. And it just completely left this offensive line in one of those everybody had to shuffle. They bring in Fernando Velasco off the street, and now they're down to their 3rd center, Cody Wallace, who really did a pretty good job as a guy that came in last week with this new offense.
Got fined twice, once for reaching for a loose ball, in a manner of speaking. 2nd down and 7. Roethlisberger, look at that time, and then finally gets flushed out. Hit as he throws, but completes it for the touchdown to Antonio Brown. A flag is down at the 7-yard line. So was somebody downfield because Ben took so much time to find time and get it away. And a little conference for the officials there. Hockley will give us the call.
There was no foul on the play for an ineligible downfield. Touchdown.
They pick up the flag. Brown is into the end zone on his 2nd catch of the night. It's a 2-touchdown lead for the Steelers.
The Bengals go with a 2-man rush. They drop both defensive tackles, which means there is just simply nobody getting any pressure on Ben. He moves around, and the Pittsburgh Steelers off to a tremendous start here.
Sean Sweezum out of a Matt McBriar hold on this windy night for the extra point. And Ben Roethlisberger has started the game 7 for 7. They convert a 4th and 4. And Pittsburgh on top 14-0 on Sunday Night Football.
Well, they're that far away right now, down 14-0 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And This is not what you're hoping for in Cincinnati. This was a great day today. They caught a break. The Dolphins beat the Patriots. They get a chance to be the #2 seed. Come in here and knock off a 5-8 football team and get off to a disastrous start.
Yeah, just to reiterate, if you joined us a little bit late, they cannot clinch a playoff spot tonight, the Bengals. They would go to 10-4, but if they win tonight and the season ended tomorrow night, they would have the #2 seed in the AFC. And of course, as you all know, if you follow the NFL, there's a gigantic difference between 2 and 5 or 6 as Cedric Pierman runs his second kickback. This time he didn't have to call for the fair catch and takes it to the 34. Well, Dalton came into the league out of TCU second round in the 2011 draft, and of course against the Steelers and the Ravens, who've been the class of the division since he came into the NFL. 3-7 against the rest of the league, a 25-10 mark.
Well, he's capable. We've seen him. He was player of the month in October. He was player of the week last week, a 3-touchdown, no interception day, as did Ben on the other side of the ball. But now's when it's got to start kicking in, and I'm going to guess A.J. Green's got to be a part of it.
Give it to Benjarvis Green Ellis for a short gain. Al Woods makes the stop.
Well, Al Woods already is starting to dominate inside the Bengals with Mike Pollock in there for Kevin Zeitler, who's coming off a foot injury. And so far up front, Kyle Cook and Mike Pollock been no match for Al Woods.
Dalton flushed out, and then the pass is thrown into the Steelers sideline. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
It's always tough playing against the Dick LeBeau defense. You never know where the coverage is going to come from. This time it's Lawrence Timmons coming right underneath Tyler Eifert, which is exactly where Dalton wanted to go with the ball, but Timmons beat him to the spot, and then he just had to throw it away. Very, very good player right there in Lawrence Timmons, their leading tackler.
51 starts, equivalent of 3 years and 3 games. 3rd down and 9 from the 34. And the pass is dropped. That's Ike Taylor right there. Boy, he's really been a handful for Green. Green's only good game against Pittsburgh in his career was when Taylor was missing.
Now, one of the problems you've got when you play against this defense is the blitz is going to come and you don't necessarily know where that's coming from. Then you get the coverage on the outside, and Ike Taylor has really been a major thorn in the side of the Cincinnati Bengals, especially A.J. Green, who has not been able to solve that puzzle.
That was Jason Worlds who was able to barge into the backfield. Now Huber setting at his own 20-yard line, and we've got a whistle before the snap.
False start offense, number 21, 5-yard penalty, it's 4th down.
Man, you couldn't guess which team was 9-4 at this point, could you?
No, Brandon G with the penalty here. There's Dalton on the Cincinnati bench. Huber, who mishandled the snap on one punt leading to a Pittsburgh touchdown. His other punt went 48 yards. Handles this one cleanly, but it's another short kick. Fielded at the 33-yard line by Brown. Brown coming back through the middle. Brown out in front, and nobody's going to catch him. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have a 3-touchdown lead. 67 yards, but there's a penalty flag down. No, Kevin Huber is down. No flag. Huber is down. Kevin Huber, after he was able to get the punt away, gets whacked as the Pittsburgh Steelers celebrate.
Boy, Jason DeMonch is going to get faked out of his shorts right there by Antonio Brown. And what a player he is. I really believe he was the most valuable player on the Steelers a couple of years ago, and probably is going to get it again this year. He has been simply fantastic. Oh boy.
Oof.
Head on the swivel there, young Kevin Huber, when that starts happening.
So the extra point coming when we come back. 20-0, going on 21. When Huber got up, but as you can see, he was cut, and he's going to go back to the locker room as he just had only the second punt in his 5 seasons in the league returned for a touchdown. There's Garvin, who put the hit on him. It was a 67-yard run back. Brown has 2 touchdowns tonight in a nightmarish first period for Cincinnati, and Sean squeezed him for the extra point. So with 1:12 remaining, and there is Antonio Brown. He's already been named the Steelers MVP once in his career, and he can make another case for him this season too.
Kevin Huber takes a heck of a shot. You wonder if he bit through his lip or maybe even his tongue here, right underneath the chin. Remember, you can't peel back towards the goal line and make this kind of hit, but this is really pretty parallel to the line of scrimmage, so I think that's going to end up being okay. But it wasn't just that hit. Cortez Allen, Antoine Blake on the outside destroying G, and all over the field now we're seeing the Cincinnati Bengals getting beat up by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let's just not rephrase that any other way. Right now this looks like old days of the Pittsburgh Steelers, old days of the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're taking a whipping.
Blast from the pass, at least if you're a Steeler fan. Dalton is 1 for 6 for 9 yards. Roethlisberger is a perfect 7 for 7. Not only is Huber the punter as he goes back for repairs, he's also the holder on placements. There goes Harrison back to the locker room, and Michelle mentioned he's been sick the last couple of days. And we'll check on him. Bengals just want to get out of the first quarter right now. It's been a disaster. Kick fielded by Tate. And from the 6, he brings the ball back to the 23-yard line. History of the Cincinnati franchise going back to 68, 21 points allowed, tied for the most allowed in the first quarter since the Bengals were founded by Paul Brown. And the Steelers tied for the most points scored in the first quarter in a history that goes all the way back to the 30s, as Giovanni Bernard is the running back here at the 23-yard line. Dalton 0 for his last 5, and at least he completes this one for a short gain to A.J. Green, covered there by Cortez Allen.
Well, now they've got Cortez Allen out on A.J. Green. He's a little bit bigger. We saw a week ago against Mike Wallace, did a good job, and his size helped. And you got the feeling that they may just start leaving those corners on either side and not flip-flop Ike Taylor, who's done such a good job with A.J. Green. Thought it'd help with their communication.
2nd and 4, and wrapped up. That's Lawrence Timmons not letting Bernard get out of the backfield. We go to Michelle.
Well, James Harrison, you saw him walking back to the locker room. He's actually doubtful. He's gone back there for a concussion evaluation, but they've already declared him doubtful. As for punter Kevin Huber, they've described it as a dental injury, Al, and his return is questionable. All
right, thank you, Michelle. And you can see all the gauze in his mouth as he went back to the locker room. So the Bengals, in the waning seconds of the quarter, have a 3rd down and 3, and they will not get the playoff. That will be the end of the first quarter. Who will punt? Who will hold? How can they come back from a 21-point deficit? End of 1, 21-0 Pittsburgh, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages.
Meeslepende clashes uit de Premier League en de Serie A. Live op Fox Sports. Dit weekend maakt Anfield zich op voor de zware show tegen Cardiff. United is wanhopig op zoek naar vorm. Lukt het tegen West Ham. In Italië titelkandidaat tegen hekkensluiter AS Roma Catania. Om 8:45 de klapper van de dag. De Milanese derby Inter AC Milan. En als toegift op maandag nog een derby uit Londen. Arsenal Chelsea. Dat en meer. Allemaal live op Fox Sports. Renault Clio. Restart your heart. De nieuwe Renault Clio. Restart your heart.
A glimpse of your eyes. I see butterflies.
Een betrokken autobedrijf zal nooit vergeten waar het om gaat. U. Dat garanderen we. BOVAG.
Ruil uw oude auto in voor een nieuwe Renault en wie weet betaalt Renault €10.000 mee. Check Renault.nl.
To all street racers, we're sending a message. This is bigger than racing now. The police were our rivals. Now, they are our enemies.
Need for Speed Rivals. Het ultieme cadeau voor de kerstdagen.
Ben jij gelukkig getrouwd? Ik ook. www.secondlove.nl.
Hey Marco, waar blijft hij nou?
Ja, als een auto zal het niet liggen, Els.
Marco, Ilsa, surprise! Merry Christmas, everybody!
Wat doen zij nou?
Bonnen scheuren natuurlijk. Want deze week gelden bij Praxis de kortingsbonnen van alle bouwmarkten en tuincentra.
En de kortingsbon van Praxis geldt ook?
Zeker. En daarmee krijg je deze week zelfs 25% korting op alle rolgordijnen en behang.
En deze toiletzitting Eden voor maar €25,60.
Doe het zelf.
Doe het samen.
Met Praxis.
Het nieuwe album van Robbie Williams, Swings Both Ways. Nu overal verkrijgbaar.
Wherever you are and using just the power of light, Seiko Astron connects to the GPS satellites. In all 39 time zones on Earth, Astron gives you the exact time. Astron GPS Solar from Seiko.
Bengals going 5 wide here. Pressure put on, and the pass is batted away. Intended for Bernard. There's a flag down. Timmons got a hand on it. Hood puts his palms up as if to say, what?
Before the pass was thrown, holding defense number 94. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Sean Timmons.
If the Bengals are going to get back in it, this is how they're going to do it. Giovanni Bernard on the outside going against the linebacker. Lawrence Timmons, one of the most athletic linebackers in the game. Pretty good coverage there. They did call it. But every time now Andy Dalton gets into that spread empty sort of set, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to come after him.
Dalton running for his life here, and then the pass is incomplete. Broken up by Ike Taylor. That time he was covering Mohamed Sanu. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, Ike Taylor always gets the best wide receiver that the other team has to offer, and that's going back many years against some of the all-time best. In perfect position there, just knocked it away from Sanu on that one. But at some point now, the Bengals are going to have to start winning some of these one-on-one matchups. I mean, this is an older secondary back there. Ike Taylor, Ryan Clark, Troy Polamalu, all in their 30s, and they've given up a lot of big plays, but nothing tonight.
Ike Slagan, 4th-round pick back in 03.
Number 77. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So that's Andrew Whitworth talking about him going from tackle to guard, and they did that in the San Diego game and decided to make it permanent. And so Whitworth was telling us, he told Marvin Lewis that, hey, I'm fine with moving to guard. We'll keep Collins on the outside. And Marvin told us last night, yeah, he texted me. I said, he texted you from where? He said, from 3 rows back on the plane with Wi-Fi.
Welcome to 2013.
2nd and 15 from the 30-yard line. Look out, Dalton pressured again. Escapes, throws, and it's incomplete. Hayward was chasing him. It'll be 3rd and 15.
Has really come into his own lately. 4 sacks in the last 6 games, I believe it is. But for Dick LeBeau, he just simply has said that he has come so far. About the middle of last year, he started acting like he was going to be the guy. Then he came to training camp and set a new world record for most fights in training camp, and it's carried right over here.
Ironhead Hayward of New Orleans Saints fame, and that pass is caught at the 44-yard line by Green. A.J. Green is going to be a little short of the first down. William Gay makes the tackle, and now you're going to have a 4th down and 1.
Now, one of the problems that you have as a wide receiver, you want to get beyond that line of scrimmage before you start coming back. Let's see if A.J. Green held on to this thing.
He's losing control of it there. Body obscures the ball there.
Well, clearly moves. I think it's on the ground.
It's definitely on the ground. And now that replay has been seen by everybody, and Mike Tomlin can challenge it. And there's the flag thrown by Mike, and he's going to win this one. At least we're 90. We're 99 and 44, 100% certain of that. Speaking of Cincinnati and P&G.
There you go.
Challenge. Back in a minute. Here comes the call on the challenge from Ed Hockley.
The ball hit the ground. The pass was therefore incomplete. It's 4th and 15 on the 30-yard line. Please reset the clock to 13:41. Pittsburgh has not charged the timeout.
So that makes it 4th down and 15. And now here comes Nugent with Huber hurt. 1 punt for 18 yards as a 2nd-round draft choice rookie with the Jets back in 05.
You can kick it 18 yards.
Ooh, well, thanks.
I can get it 9.
And, well, it looks like a little bit more than an 18-yard here, and he does get a good bounce, and it will roll all the way to the 33-yard line. And after a 37-yard punt, here's Michelle.
Well, it looks like Nugent's going to continue to punt for the rest of the night because Kevin Hubert now is out with a fractured jaw. You see that injury there when he got blindsided by Terrence Garvin. It is a dental injury indeed, a fractured jaw. He is out.
Well, there he is, Nugent, who is also the holder. Meanwhile, you got Marcus Gilbert back in for Pittsburgh at right tackle. By the way, I was the Ray guy of my generation, just in case you were.
I'll give you 19 yards.
Right. So a 37-yard punt. Here's Roethlisberger. Little swing pass to Emmanuel Sanders. And Sanders spinning away, breaking tackles, going down the sideline. Big gainer. So Emmanuel Sanders, who looked to be stopped after a 6 or 7 yard gain, winds up going for 27. Broke away from Mawaluga.
A lot of missed tackles in the game in the second half last week for the Cincinnati Bengals against Indianapolis. And starting off with the same sort of familiar ring to it in this one tonight. Everything going the Steelers' way thus far.
From the 46 on first down. And that is bobbled and caught by Sanders. Roethlisberger is 9 for 9 and stays perfect. And this time on the right side it is Sanders, and that may have netted a first down. Very close. He'll spot the ball at the 35-yard line and move the chains.
Starting to come with some pressure now. Reggie Nelson, a safety, comes around, gets a good shot. Ben Roethlisberger, but he's getting the ball out of his hands so quickly. Todd Haley has to be enjoying that, because in reality, that's what Todd Haley was brought here to do, to force Ben to get the ball.
And it's worked. This year he has not missed a snap in a career that has been truncated with injuries. As it's Heath Millard making the catch, and the chant of Heath goes up. Maualuga making the tackle. 2nd and 1.
One of the things that Roethlisberger has done this year is with his intellect now, he's not taking hits. They bring the safety again, and so he throws right behind it. Blitz coming that way, fine. He just has Heath, a little hot read, pitch and catch, and now you're not quite so brave to dial up all those blitzes.
Back to the ground. Bell. And he will pick up the first down on a 2nd and short, 23-yard line.
Well, as long as they stay in this no-huddle offense, it'll be Ben Roethlisberger calling the plays. But that's part of what Haley wanted to do. He wanted to educate Ben, get him set up in the offense, teach him to get the ball out of the hand a little quicker, a lot more screens out there, and then cut him loose. He's a veteran player. He knows what he's doing, and he gets the last look at the defense. Why not?
11 for 11. Pay the line. Here's Bell. And Bell gets taken down after a gain of 8 yards, getting to the 16-yard line. Reggie Nelson, the safety, stopping him there. 2nd down and 2.
Kelvin Beachum back after being out with a knee injury a week ago, and he's going to get some good movement up there. You get the feeling this Pittsburgh Steelers team really likes Kelvin Beachum, and they think he can be the long-term answer at left tackle.
Ben on 2nd and 2, slings it to the right side, and that's another first down. Antonio Brown making the catch. Brown has caught 5 or more passes in every game this season. He already has 3 grabs tonight, including a touchdown catch.
And I think that he's really benefited maybe most just in the number of catches with Todd Haley becoming the coordinator, because they have so many more of those screens, so many more of those quick throws where they just want to get the ball in the hands of these great athletes on the outside and let them go to work.
1st and goal from the 5. And Roethlisberger, and that's the first incomplete pass of the night. Matt Spaeth, the number 2 tight end, the intended receiver. 2nd and goal.
Yeah, but Matt Spaeth, and he's not going to be a receiver first, but he is a guy that has added a lot with the blocking on the outside. And again, so many of those 3-by-1 formations with he and Heath on the same side, their running game is now much more complete.
2nd and goal. 5 wide. Defense a little confused as they try to get set here. And Roethlisberger to the outside. The pass a little low, and it will be a loss of a couple. Adam Jones making the stop.
It's kind of interesting about Emmanuel Sanders, the guy that was given an offer sheet by the New England Patriots, which the Steelers match, but they have to make that same decision again this year. Jericho Cotchery, Emmanuel Sanders, receivers that are going to be free agents, and they've got some talent behind them too. Marcus Wheaton waiting in the wings.
8 touchdowns, as you saw, on their last 8 trips into the red zone. Can they make it 9? It's 3rd down and goal. Cotchery in motion. Fake handoff, and into a lot of traffic intended for Cotchery, the guy he looks to very often in those situations. The pass is incomplete, and Loka coming up thinking, I should have had the interception.
Either one of them could have had the interception. A little razzle dazzle, but now watch, the Bengals have 2 guys in position to make the interception. Dre Kirkpatrick as well, and they knock each other off the ball. That has been the kind of night it's been thus far for the Bengals. Even when they have a chance to make a play, they get one of those.
They limit him to a field goal attempt. Sean Sweezum from 25 yards out. And he bangs that one through with 9.5 to play in the opening half. And the Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Bengals 24-0. From the 1, Brandon Tate. And Brandon Tate with a great run back here, and they will force him out of bounds after he crosses the 50. Antoine Blake knocks him out of bounds, and Cincinnati has the ball in Pittsburgh territory. Ben Roethlisberger, you go from 04 through 12. Almost 23 points a game. The defense good, 16.7 points per game allowed, best in the league over that period of time. This year the offense about the same, 22.5 points a game, but the defense, there's your big difference, 50% more points per game being allowed.
And we talked about it a little bit before. It's really the big plays that they typically do not give up.
And here's Dalton throwing, and that'll be caught inside the 30-yard line by A.J. Green. Mike Tomlin saying very clearly, he said, we are just not an elite defense right now.
Yeah, and we asked him about the older guys in the secondary, and he said, guys, listen, that's not elite. 11 plays over 50 yards is not elite. Everybody is on the table at this point, and that means Ike Taylor and Ryan Clark and Troy Polamalu, who has a big payday coming for next year. They're looking at everything.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati, after that 52-yard run back, trying to climb this big mountain here. And this is Bernard taking the ball to the 20-yard line. He was picked in the second round last year to North Carolina this past spring, and he was the top running back picked in the draft. And he gives them an opportunity, along with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, to have a little yin and yang in the offensive backfield. But this is a guy who can break one anytime, and is a great pass receiver as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And what you see in the NFL now is a lot of man coverage. Nobody feels like they can sit back and play zone defenses against these great quarterbacks. So what happens is you've got to have these little scat back kind of guys that can win one-on-one battles. And there goes Ike Taylor off the field, and maybe the Bengals could use a little help, because the one game that A.J. Green has had a big game in his career against the Steelers is when Ike Taylor didn't play.
Well, right now Green has all 3 catches. Dalton is 3 of 11. Taylor out, 8.5 to go in the half. Second down and 2. William Gay goes over to that side to take his spot, with Green coming off the line on the left side, and then Green turning back in to face Dalton. It makes his 4th grab at the 12-yard line. First down, Cincinnati.
You know, it's kind of interesting, Al. We're seeing a little bit less of Troy Polamalu playing the linebacker position in the dime. Looks like this ball may have been tipped coming out, and they still got it completed. But they're flanking Polamalu out now on the slot receiver and trying to play him out there, as opposed to inside, where I don't think he's been quite as effective, just from the standpoint you take away that sort of intimidation factor.
Taylor missed only 1 play. He's back in, and that pass turning around is A.J. Green. He was covered that time by Allen, and it's incomplete. Second down.
You know, they try a little double move there, come up and just run the hitch at the top, and then try to stutter step and go off of that. Ball just thrown a little bit outside, and you wonder what the wind did with that ball. It's one thing when you're trying to drive the ball through the wind, it doesn't move much. You throw one of those floaters up there, and who knows what happens.
Cincinnati good in the red zone, 3rd in the league, converting close to 70% of the time. Second down and 10. Ball is handed off to Bernard. Giovanni Bernard to the 8-yard line. 3rd down.
Well, here's what you get with Troy Polamalu in there at linebacker. This is what they do with the dime defense and bring him up. But what happens is offensive linemen end up getting down on him. And that's really a difficult thing for a guy that weighs just over 200 pounds to have to try and take on a 295-pound offensive lineman, but he is Troy Polamalu.
On 3rd and 5. Dalton, a little shovel pass, and putting his head down is Bernard to the 2-yard line. Might be a little short, but I've got to think Lewis would go for it here, even if it is short. Hockley taking a look, lines it up, and I think he wants to bring the chain gang in, and does.
That was pretty impressive there by Giovanni Bernard. He put his head down and moved the pile, and I think that was Ziggy Hood back there. Comes around here, And he's going to be well short if they make this tackle, but he just drives that pile straight back towards the first down marker, and that was Ziggy Hood, one of the strongest guys in football.
Just a couple of lengths shy. So down by 24. Marvin Lewis will keep the offense in there, 4th and inches.
And here comes an interesting time in this game because the Bengals don't really have that true fullback. They have Alex Smith in there as one of 3 tight ends, and when they have their tight ends in at fullback, you don't always see movement. Let's see if Alex Smith, who kind of got knocked off a play like this earlier in the game, can make a play on this one right here.
He's the fullback, and then you got Bernard as the tailback on 4th and inches, and Dalton's going to keep it himself and get the first down, taking it to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal with 6.5 to go in the opening half.
Well, Marvin Lewis dead on the money with that. No choice but to try and go for it from there, because you do have to remember that this is as one-sided as that score looks like. Your defense is playing okay, but they've given up 14 points and maybe more than that because they had the fair catch on the kickoff as well. So special teams a disaster. Just need to get back in. Now Domata Peko comes in at fullback. This will be a little different.
He's done this many times. There he is, fronting the tailback as the handoff is taken to the half-yard line by Bernard. So it'll be 2nd down and goal.
No problem when Domata Peko at 330 pounds plays fullback. He's going to come flying through here. We saw a game earlier where Peko just about destroyed Troy Polamalu on one of those lead plays when he was coming up and trying to make a play in the backfield.
He had Whitworth there at 335 and Peko well into the 3s, and Peko still in at fullback. 2nd and goal. Bernard, and this time he's going to take it in for the touchdown. Bernard. So the Cincinnati Bengals trailing by 24, getting a good run back to get them started here. Go 47 yards in 4.5 minutes to try to get back into the game.
Nice pull here by Andrew Whitworth, taking over at the guard position, and was able to get just enough of Lawrence Timmons coming around there. That's a tough block to make down on the goal line. And then Giovanni Bernard up over the top. Big touchdown for the Bengals. Get them back in it.
Meanwhile, you have to have Dalton stay in the game now because he has to hold for the extra point. Nugent, the kicker. Huber got hurt, and he does a nice job there. Let's assume somewhere along the line he probably has held for a few placements, and it's 24-7. Nugent's kick is fielded at the 6. Felix Jones, the ex-Dallas Cowboy, will get corralled at the 26-yard line. So Ben Roethlisberger tonight has misfired only twice. He's 13 of 15 with a touchdown. And for Andy Dalton, he's completed 5 passes out of 14 throws tonight, 4 of them to A.J. Green.
The core difference in what the Steelers have done under Todd Haley is they have about 7% fewer passes in that intermediate range, 11 to 20, and about 7% more of the short distance. But long passes over 20 yards, numbers almost identical to when Bruce Arians was here as the offensive coordinator.
Running back here is Felix Jones, and he'll carry it, bouncing to the outside for a gain of 1 to the 28-yard line.
There's some of the numbers we were talking about, and really it hasn't changed a whole lot. There's the short passes, a little bit higher there, about 7% higher.
But more than 20 yards from the line of scrimmage, 18 completions, 7 touchdowns. And that's both most in a season since 2009, the year after they won the Super Bowl. 2nd down and 9 from the 28. And Jones has room and gets tackled up at the 40-yard line. Reggie Nelson rides him down after a first down. Gain of 12.
Pretty nice job there by David DeCastro coming up and cleaning up the edge on that one. And for Felix Jones, that's what he does best. I mean, it really is. He is a bounce out kind of a runner, and if you give him that edge, he's going to make some big plays for you. Not really the power guy, but came over once Le'Veon Bell got hurt, and he was needed.
Jones again. So 3 straight carries. And Jones to the 44-yard line before Adam Jones, the former Adam Pac-Man Jones, makes the stop. Mike Zimmer has been an NFL defensive coordinator since 2000 when he was with Dallas. Stayed there in the Parcells regime. Went to Atlanta for a year. And then to Cincinnati in 08.
Yeah, he and Todd Haley coached on that same staff in Dallas together.
2nd and 6. Roethlisberger with time. Miller makes the catch, and the tight end takes the ball into Cincinnati territory. First down, tackled by Mawaluga.
I tell you, for the Cincinnati Bengals, a major difference this year without Geno Atkins in there. Watch the lack of pressure here. Good protection on the part of the Steelers. But back when you had the double team Geno Atkins inside, those ends, Carlos Dunlap and Michael Johnson, were a nightmare to try and block on the edge.
Here's Jonathan Dwyer now. He's the number 3 running back. And he takes the ball to the 42-yard line.
Jonathan Dwyer last year against the Bengals in Cincinnati, a game we did. Remember that one? About 127 yards. I think that was his career high, but in many ways overpowered Cincinnati in that one.
Steelers going no huddle just about the entire half. 2nd down and 5 from the 42. Toss to Dwyer. Has room. Head down to the 31-yard line. He goes. Tackled there by Kirkpatrick, and that's going to take us down to the 2-minute warning here in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers lead the Bengals 24-7 on Sunday Night Football. 2 minutes remaining in the half. From the 43-yard line, Felix Jones, the running back, on first down. And Jones to the 28-yard line. He goes.
Well, for Ben Roethlisberger, it's sort of fun for me to watch him at the line of scrimmage now. He is really, every time the Bengals are showing a sign of weakness, he's getting into an audible quickly. And a lot of times it's these edge plays and the ability to get outside the Bengals defense if he feels good about it going that way.
And Jones again chugging his way. Well, came out of the scrum and finally goes down again at just about the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 5.
You know, the other issue the Bengals have tonight is I'm sure they would like to bring some pressure here, but it's tough with some of these defensive backs out of the game.
3rd and 5 when we come back. 3rd down and 5 after the Cincinnati timeout, and the pass is incomplete off the hands of Antonio Brown. So it'll be 4th down and 5, and the Steelers will send Sweezum out.
Sometimes you get those quick little slant throws and you have to catch the ball and throw it, and oh, forget about it wherever the laces are. You just wonder, he's got such a big hand. We've seen him with those incredible pump fakes over the years, but that one unable to hit home.
Sweezum 1 for 1 tonight. He's made his last 10. He made his first 15 this season and missed 2 in a row in Oakland. His only 2 misses of the year. This is a 45-yard attempt. And into a swirling wind, the kick is good. Well, Sweezum's great season continues. 1:14 remaining in the opening half, and it's a 20-point Steeler lead.
Don't you think a little bit of it when people saw him smiling on the sidelines, made him look like he got away with something, but in reality what was happening, the veteran players over there were all cracking jokes and making fun of him for being in the way, and he was sort of trying to laugh it off and get the focus back on the game, but that was sort of interpreted one way and maybe really intended as something else.
Well, we were there that night because they replayed it about 5 times while we were in commercial on Thanksgiving night. And here's Tomlin.
As he always does, looks up at the replay board to watch the kickoff returns, thinks it gives him a better angle. And there he is. Asked Marvin Lewis about it last night, and he said, listen, nobody could think that fast, that the play was breaking that way, and I'm going to go out and try and disturb his path. And so he wasn't buying any of that conspiracy theory.
Pass incomplete, intended for Jones. So will Mike ever come close to doing that again? Well, here he was on the last kickoff.
Surprised he wasn't standing behind the bench. It made him mad. You could just tell, though, that he was embarrassed by it. He's a guy that believes in the rules and the competition committee and all that stuff, and he took total blame for it, and he got hammered by the league for it.
$100,000 plus they figured to take a late round draft choice away from Pittsburgh as Dalton runs the ball out to the 25-yard line as we tick down to a minute. Jason Worlds making the stop to avoid another precarious situation. Swing it to the outside, and this is Sanu who will pick up the first down at the 33-yard line. So now let's see if Cincinnati takes the timeout, and they do. The Jets were flagged for a penalty on a similar play the week before. Here's a little dump off to Giovanni Bernard. He'll take it to the 42-yard line. And Hayward makes the tackle, and the Bengals, who do have one timeout, elect not to do it and just go back to
that's interesting.
The locker room. Yeah, it's kind of unusual, but that's what they have done, and they're going to get the second half kickoff. Meanwhile, all Pittsburgh in the opening half, 27-7. The Toyota halftime coming up after these messages.
Fox Sports presenteert de NFL. Show, spektakel en spijkerharde clashes. Vechten voor de ultieme beloning. Een plek in de Super Bowl. Wie knokt zich naar de playoffs? Live genieten van de NFL op Fox Sports.